Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. It is a group of 7 satellites which is meant for both GPS as well as military purposes. Two names which you need to remember, particularly navigation satellites. Gagan is a navigation satellite system, GAN. Gagan is GPS aided geo augmented navigation satellite. GPS aided geo augmented navigation. This is satellites based navigation system particularly for air traffic. This is not helping in any way, but this helps all air traffic. Gagan is the satellite 7 satellite system. It helps in air traffic. Then Gagan is a then second thing which you need to remember is NAVIC. NAVIC. NAVIC is nothing but Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. Another name for IRNSS is NAVIC. This NAVIC helps in traffic, air traffic, general traffic, sea traffic, and then partly military activities. With this, we have completed navigation satellites. Then the general satellites are experimental satellites. These experimental satellites, when you start right from 75, the first experimental satellite we have sent into the orbit was Aryabhata. Aryabhata 75, it was only experimental purposes we have sent. Then Apple is another satellite which we have sent subsequently. Apple is Ariane passenger payload launch vehicle. This is also for experimental. Both are for remote sensing purposes. Then there are satellites called small satellites and then student satellites. These are all called YouthSat, Apple, I told you, Rohini, and some of the S series satellites. All these things, each satellite of different payloads. It can be 1 kg, it can be 150 kg or 400 kg. All these things, they will have a separate scientific purpose attached to this launch vehicle. It only functions for that specific purpose only. It will not contribute in general. So that's why it is not categorized into any communication satellite, navigation, and then remote sensing. In those categories, it did not go. Now, I will sum up. See, communication satellites are meant for radio, TV, internet signaling, and they will be placed in geostationary or geosynchronous orbit. Then, for Earth observation, Indian remote sensing IRS remote sensing satellites are placed in low Earth orbit. It helps in resource mapping, cartography, and then weather. Then navigation satellites, these are either in geostationary, geosynchronous, they will be placed, and it helps in all GPS system, it helps. In the navigation systems, you have two names which you need to remember, IRNSS, otherwise called NAVIC, then second is Gagan. Gagan is for air traffic, NAVIC is for military purposes and GPS purposes. Then space research based on spacecraft, based on the purpose of launching a spacecraft, then the orbit will be decided. If it is you are sending to study the moon, it is in lunar orbit. Send any Mars, that is Mars orbit. Likewise, it will be sent. All astronomical studies will be, I told you, it is in the high Earth orbit only. If you are sending a satellite to as an experimental one to study the astronomical details that will be placed in the high Earth orbit. With this, we have completed types of satellites and then now launch vehicles that carry the satellites, various useful uses of areas these satellites are generally used. In our next lecture, we will be covering important space missions till now in respect of India and the world, and then application of space technology in common good. With this, we will be coming to a conclusion of the topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, MuraliKrishna garu. Thank